Hello everyone. I want to show you how I start out the cultures for raising Grindal worms and white worms. At the basic level, the process is identical. I've got a couple of nice throwaway plastic containers with good size sides on them and a drill, and I'm going to poke some holes. For Grindal worms, this will be a full-size grow-out one. For the white worms, it's basically one that I'll end up giving to somebody else as a starter, because I'd use a container about twice this size for one going in my own wine cooler. So once I've poked some air holes, then the next step, say take them out, do two at once, save a little time. The next step is to add some dirt. This is a national brand of potting soil. Put in, I don't know, about an inch. About an inch in each. Break up any little clumps. Boy, I just brought this potting soil in from outside, and it's about close to 90 outside, and this stuff is sitting in a bag in the hot sun. This is some pretty hot potting soil. And then I got to get it wet. Notice how carefully I measure. I don't know. You add a bunch. Take a little scraper, mix it up. You want to try and have too little water, because it's easier to add more than it is to wish you hadn't put it in to start with. So, kind of got this one started. See what we can do here about getting this one started. It needs some more water. I want it nice and moist. I don't want it dripping water, but I want it wet. I probably keep it wetter than most people. Works for me. Now, once we get this mixed up some, this one's a little too wet, which is easy. Just add a little more potting soil. Stir it up. Now this is going to need to sit for a while before we start using it, because as we all know that the potting soil mixed like this is going to absorb the water like crazy, and what looks like it may be too wet now may be too dry in a little while. And I got the other problem that this stuff is so hot. So what I'm going to do here, I don't know what that's a piece of, but I don't need it, is I'm going to put the cover on this one for the Grindal worms and just set it here. And I'm going to take the one that's going to have the white worms. Remember, the white worms want the cooler temperatures. Starting a culture in a 90-degree media is not going to work. So I'm going to put that into the white worm refrigerator there, and we're going to let it absorb the water and cool down. So we'll come back and see how we're doing here in about an hour, and we'll continue this. Okay, we've given a little time for this potting mixture to cool down. So we're going to take a look and see how it is. And it's moist, but there's no standing water. So it's ready to start. No, I'm going to get inside the cooler. Pull out one of these from this morning. And I'm going to start right here in this corner, because we got a lot of nice worms here. And cut out a section. Work this little piece in here. That gives me some worms, and tear off a couple pieces of food for them to eat. And that takes care of that. One white worm culture started again. Okay. I'll put the white worms in the cooler. Now it's time to start the Grindal worms.